Hey everyone, I'm Zade. I'm a product designer. I'm going to be walking you through this product concept that I've come up with for this prompt. So the prompt is that a Fortune 100 media brand wants to disrupt social media and news while leveraging the power of AI to make this new product a magical and monumental hit. The target audience was Gen Z, and so I kind of started there. I started thinking or researching where Gen Z typically gets their news now, and some of the reasons why that is. And I think it comes as no surprise that 50 to 70% of Gen Z get the majority of their news from social media, and TikTok alone has 40% of their news attention. And so I think that that speaks to some of the concerns of Gen Z, which are they trust certain people that they follow on social media, but also relevance, digestibility, like how engaging the content is, and authenticity from the person delivering that content. And I think TikTok and even, we've seen like Instagram Reels and things like that, they kind of provide the perfect platform for that kind of content. It's short form video, which I mean, even a lot of news reports are short form video if you break them out into their segments, which that was another thing as part of my research when I was looking at the workflow of journalists, and I found that it was very similar to the workflow of content creators. They typically source a story, they gather material, sound bites, content, stuff like that, and then obviously submit it for review. So I did some initial sketches, like building semantic search into the platform, but how to handle that. I was thinking, which you can kind of see with this, is that we would surface news networks news first, and then the AI content would show underneath. So if it was a situation where the viewer or the user wanted to just look at a video quickly instead of read the AI content, they could. But if there's no videos on the platform, obviously having the AI content there would just make the app keep it sort of alive for the user and lower that frustration a little bit. And then I also did some more research on kind of like how to categorize the news, how to present it, like what sort of information when it comes to, trusting the news source is important. So who, where the story came from. There's all these terms, obviously original reporting, but then wires coming from like outside news agency or service, syndicated content originally created from one outlet but licensed to multiple others for republishing, and so on. We didn't want the platform to just be user generated content because that would open up the parent company to liability issues, like legal issues, defamation suits, but also just they could be held responsible for allowing their users to spread whatever kind of information they wanted and labeling it as news. And so that kind of went against the trust issue that we talked about earlier, but yeah, it also opened them up to those legal concerns. So the proposal here is to still have reputable reporters that are hired by the news company or the news arm, and it's all just in this bite-sized content. Journalists already create short form videos, so it's not too much of a stretch to get them to create for this format and for this platform. And then also we have the reactions column. And I think the reactions column is pretty interesting because it still allows users to engage with the news, to have their voice be heard, but it also it's treated like almost like a comment. It thought it might be a good idea to have that the opinions expressed are not the views of the Pulse platform or any parent networks. That way, to further kind of shield the company from liability, but it allows the Gen Z users to engage, to respond to news and also be heard. And I thought that that was pretty interesting. And so these are some other screens that I explored. This is like the amount of exploration that I did. I even for colors, I thought of Comcast and NBCU as like a good sort of company to model the Fortune 100 company after. So this is just some branding exploration, meaning behind the colors and how I came up with these gradients. And these are some initial like explorations that I came up with for the Discover page for discovering new content, being able to search, but then find relevant or filter out for relevant content. And so Pulse News. I generated this name from Claude, but I thought it fit. The vibe was good. Finger on the pulse. It kind of had that sort of like, it had a nice fit to it. So these are some of the screens that I came up with. So you'll see this is the user generated content. We have some familiar action items like share, comment, but then this list tree. This is where we'll find out or be able to view the original report. This is where we'll see other video responses, more details button. This is where and I'll actually show you, but this is where the AI generates not only like a summary, but also a transcript and some relevant details around the original post and this, what she's sharing here. It's going to pull up the product now and sort of just show you. All right. So Pulse News. And actually, so I as I was building this, I kind of realized that news headlines kind of sound like AI summaries anyway. If you look at like Siri, maybe a group text or something, it'll just kind of give you the highlights in a really quick way. So I thought that it would be interesting, or it could be interesting, if all of the sort of headlines or captions are just generated by AI from the transcript. And so we have the feed here, which we have all of the official reporters indicated by the badge, but also being in the Pulse News tab. And then we have our reaction posts. And so these are people here, with Andrew Huberman. He's obviously like someone that people get a lot of information from already. And so having him and people like him on the platform would probably bolster the platform a lot. But then, you can see what video he's responding to. You get an AI summary, and then, who he is on the platform, viewing the transcript, and then more community responses. And again, here you have like the original report and then replies. And so another thing that I thought would be really interesting is what if the original reporter being native to this platform, what if they would respond? And so I kind of show that here. Thanks Huberman for the breakdown. And then, you can click on that report and watch the whole thing. And so for the final screen, we have the discovery page. And so this is discovery based on just general news topics, everything that comes in chronologically. Again, all the headlines being AI generated, but then the quick catch me up, and then that filter that I showed you earlier in the design, so you could filter by entertainment and see just entertainment news, and then the search. So for the search, I could say what's new with, let's say, Taylor Swift. And then we show the news on Pulse first. And we could show, this is a reaction video, this is a report, and then the AI response here. And obviously, I think, styling the AI response a little bit more, and I think at this point it comes down to designing the system prompt behind how the AI presents the information, and then you could ask more questions, and that is it. So yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time and going through this with me. I really enjoyed this project, and I'm curious to hear your feedback and answer any questions that you might still have. All right, thank you.